Hey everyone, this tutorial is going to be just about a quick sort of leaderboard setup. And the reason I'm doing a leaderboard tutorial is because the ones in my old tutorials that I just kind of shimmy-shammed in there in my tower-D tutorials and stuff, they don't really work fully, and I think if people actually played with them, they'd realize that my leaderboards before kind of sucked and didn't actually work properly. So I have figured out how to do a proper leaderboard now, and I'm going to be showing that here, just doing a sort of player kills leaderboard, and I'll play some units so we can see that it works. So let's go ahead and make a new map right away. Do whatever here is fine. Wow, it was fast. And right away, let's just make some players to sort of test this, to test a sort of BattleNet environment, because I'm not going to go publish this map and actually test it. So to test BattleNet conditions, I usually just add computer players, because they'll be in the game. And then let's add a user right here who obviously won't be in the game because I'm locally testing, so it'll be a good way to make sure our leaderboard works, that it omits player 4. And player 5 and 6 are going to be computers. So on our leaderboard, we should see player 1, 2, 3, not playing, 5, 6. And hopefully that'll work. So press OK. And let's go into triggers. And delete this crap. And the first thing we're going to do is make a variable to store our leaderboard so we can reference it when units die later. Let's call this actually killboard, a new variable here, and of type L leaderboard. Okay. And we also need another new variable to store our player kills for each player, because the game actually doesn't store that in any sort of way. So, actually, let's leave it as integer and array. It needs to be of size 6 so that we have 1 kills integer for each player. And let's go back here. So let's make this leaderboard. Control W on actions and leaderboard, create leaderboard. Good. 2 columns is good, and number of rows is however many total players you have plus 1. So in this case it's 7. It's not how many players are going to be in the game. It's just a static 7 there for me, because I have 6 players here that I'm going to have actively playing my game, hopefully. And the reason we do that is because for any player that's not there, we're just going to put a not playing. And you'll see why I'm doing that instead of just omitting them completely later. So the name, 1-2's leaderboard, that sucks. Actually, that doesn't suck. My old one sucked. Doesn't suck. There we go. It was pretty important for me to write that out. Anyways, let's make a new action again. I press Control W, and let's make a variable, set variable, and this is just doing this in advance here. Let's set killboard to equal function last created leaderboard, so we've stored this now in this variable so we can reference it later. And Control W again, and let's set the header rows, something that's good to do. So let's set leaderboard item text. Last created leaderboard's fine. You could change this to the variable because we just set it, but last created leaderboard will work here. Column 1 and row preset header to text player. And then copy paste, and column 2 header is going to be kills. Okay. And now we need to do a loop because we need to go through for each player and let's see, general, pick each integer and add them to the leaderboard. So pick each integer from 1 to 6. Okay, because we have 6 players. And now inside here we're going to do an if statement, and the reason we're doing if is to check that they're active, and if they are, then we'll add them. If not, we'll put not playing in the thing. So I made an if, and then I added a comparison condition in the if itself, in the if action. So in this we want to change, click on this left bracket here, and we want to change it to player status of player. Status of player, instead of player 1, let's make it a function, general picked integer. So the good thing about doing this loop here is that we instantly have a preset picked integer, so we don't have to make any local variables to go through. So this is going to reference this loop number that we're going through. So status of player picked integer equals preset playing. So if the person is playing that we're looping through, we're going to set their leaderboard stuff up. So set the leaderboard item text for last created leaderboard at column 1, and row, change this to be that picked integer thing again. So if we're on player 1 here, if the integer is 1, it's going to check status of player 1 equals playing. If it is, then it's going to set the leaderboard at column 1 and row 1, because picked integer is 1, to text, and then it's going to finish this and then go to player 2 and go through this, player 3 and go through this, all the way to 6. Anyways, and we're going to set the text to be function player name of player. And then we got to click on trigger player and find general picked integer again. Players really in triggers are just numbers, integers. So when you're saying player 4, you're actually saying number 4. Like that's all they are, and that's what Blizzard made them in the trigger editor. Is like a player is just basically a number to store the number of the player. That's why it's so easy to just do this name of player, this integer. And anyways, so if the player is playing, we're going to set their row text to be the name of them, and then we're going to set oops, I copy pasted. I'm going to set this action to be leaderboard set item text color, and for the row it's going to be the same row, function general picked integer, and the color now is going to be a function convert player color to color of current player, and this is going to be a picked integer again, so it's going to be the current color of whatever player we're looping through right now. And okay, so that sets up that one. Let's copy paste both of these. Good. And okay, so we need to set this at column 2 now, and their row, whatever player row we're on, we actually want to click on this left bracket here and change it to value and just put a 0, because nobody's going to have any kills to start. So that's easy. And we need to set this color as well. So yeah, that should be good. And I'm going to save this leaderboard tutorial. Okay, you just got a sneak peek at some of my maps there. Okay, so it's going to set this correctly for all the playing players, but for the players that aren't there, what we want to do is copy paste these two into the else. So if the status of the player is playing that we're looping through, so status, say the first time this runs, it's going to pick integer, it's going to start out on 1, it's going to check that player 1 is playing. If player 1 is playing, it's going to do this stuff, but if player 1 is not playing, then it's going to go here. And here what we're going to do is set their name to just be a value not playing. And then the color is going to be not this thing. Click on that bracket there. We're just going to do a value, and oops, actually click on this bracket here, go to value, and we're just going to make it a like sort of a darkish gray. That should be good. Yeah, so it's kind of grayed out. And let's save. So this is good and all, but what we do need to do is make a new trigger for actually changing values so that when they get kills it'll update. So let's call this player kills. You could call it unit dies or whatever. Event, control W, unit dies. Condition, it doesn't need to be a condition. In this case, you might need one if you're doing like a tower defense or something. Like I don't. This part is pretty accurate from my. This part that I would do in my tower defense tutorials is pretty good, but this is the part that's different than what I've done before with my leaderboards. Anyways, so in here, control W, we need to v variable, modify variable integer, modify kills, and the 0, let's change that to function unit owner, and I like to use owner of killing unit instead of killing player. You can select killing player and that'll do the same thing as this, but just to be safe I like to do owner of killing unit. And let's modify their kills to be +1. And this is good and all, but it wouldn't actually update your leaderboard. Your leaderboard would still be living in the past with their previous kills, so you need to actually set the text again for just to keep it updated. So this is where we need to reference our variable that we set it to in here. Otherwise here we wouldn't be able to pick the right leaderboard. You can't just do last created leaderboard here. It would just find nothing and do nothing. So column, it's going to always be 2, and the row, function player